Okay, so a video on watermarking in Lightroom and Photoshop, and how some of the best ways to do this are, and some of the shortcomings that Lightroom has, which will become apparent in a moment. So here's an edit. Say I finished it and I want to place a watermark on. Lightroom's quite good for this. Go to export. We'll just give this a quick name, Concord watermark test. And if you scroll down to this menu, which probably might appear on your screen a little bit smaller, maybe like this initially, just make that big full screen for now. And there's a drop down menu for watermarking. Now you might find that is initially, if you haven't set this up, will be just a simple copyright watermark. So, but to add your own, you want to go to edit watermarks, and here is the watermarking panel. So you can, if you haven't got your own watermark done, you can add in something in some nice text. It's a little bit ropey, it's a little bit basic, but that's the quickest way of doing it, and you can call it by your name, and as you can see, it's pretty poor. So if you have your own JPEG or PNG watermark that you want to place on, here's one of mine. You just click choose and select. So there's mine now. But here's where the drawbacks are. These are the only control we have. You can have the opacity, which is self-explanatory. The size and proportion, of course, we'll keep that around 10. You can use fit and you can use fill, but we want to use proportion here. And then again, you only have control over +10 and -10 on the horizontal, and the same for the vertical. So it's quite ropey when it comes to where you want to place your watermark. And that's the other annoying thing, you can't do this freehand either. You can anchor it to a certain place, and I'd quite like it over here, let's say for this example, especially if you like to edit with a bit of negative space and use your watermark almost to complement the image. So it works about right, but it's quite tough to achieve the desired results. And that also leads me on to the next thing, is you have to do this. If you edit in batches, it's okay, you just simply save this as a new preset. And the trouble is, to edit each time, unless you save one, you have to do this each time to place where you want your watermark. So as you can see here, I've got loads of different things. I've got thrust av, white, right bottom solid, then I've got one for transparent in the bottom left, and this is the problem. You end up with a long list of different presets for where you want your watermark. So anyway, that is, and if you make any, and that's the other thing, if you make any adjustments to each preset, you will need to then either save it as a new one or update it. So in this case, I've got this selected, so if I make a slight adjustment to the left, it will now say save down here rather than done, and I just need to update that preset before I can click done. So when I click done, that brings me back to the export window, and it will then apply the watermark as selected to every image you're exporting. Now in this case I'm doing it singularly, but if you're doing it as a batch, it's annoying because you might not want the watermark in the same place all the time. So we'll click export just to show you in this case, and then if you select something I forgot to say there, if you select show in Explorer down here in post-processing, once that's finished exporting, it will actually open it in your export window as it did there, and wherever it is, Concord watermark test, there it is with the watermark placed on. That's the Lightroom way of doing things. Now if that's not your taste and you want to be able to free move, Photoshop is where this is the next best thing for doing this. So we're very lucky to have the two programs that work together very easily. So all you have to do, and make sure you have Photoshop downloaded, is to go to edit in and click Photoshop. and in this case I have previously used Photoshop to edit this with, so we want to make sure we use the full edit. So as I've done some more work in Lightroom with this, click edit, and now this will open up in Photoshop. Sometimes it helps if you have Photoshop already open, just to make it a little bit quicker. And to place a watermark on here, all we need to do is open up where your watermarks are kept and just click and drag. As simple as that. And it will open it up in something called Free Transform. And if you hold the Alt key and click and drag, that will scale the image for you, and you can put that watermark wherever you like. If you don't want it bold, you can change the opacity down here, and you can have it a little bit. So if you're not one for watermarks, but you're fed up of your work getting stolen in some cases, you might want to put a really niche watermark somewhere and make it almost invisible rather. So that's one way you can do it. But in this case, and if you then go, oh, I can't select this anymore, don't worry, all you need to do is click on that layer, press Ctrl-T, that will open up Free Transform again, and we'll bring the opacity back, and we'll place it wherever we want to. Place it there. Let's say we want this. We can just type in 50%, and we'll just leave it there, for example. Then all we have to do is press File, Save, and what that does is save that as a new TIFF file, and once it's finished saving, we can get rid of that, and there it is now in Lightroom, and that will stack that. To go to the folder it's in, it will stack that as a TIFF file on top of your other image. And then just remember not to export with your watermarks turned on from Lightroom. So that's the simplest way of doing things, and I hope you find that relatively useful. Thanks for watching.